Hi there, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of The Bottom Line. I'm your host, Ryan McCombs, and I'd like to remind all of you to hit the like button on this video, hit subscribe, and make sure to follow me on X at RAMccombs326 so that I can keep you updated on the issues that matter most. Now, I'd like to begin my monologue tonight by building upon some concepts that I have articulated in past monologues. Specifically, my first monologue, which is a defense of the American-Israeli alliance, and a monologue that I released just over a month ago, in which I exposed the Marxist-Islamist alliance in the Democrat Party. In that monologue, I discussed at great length the parallels that exist between political Islam and Marxism. They might have divergent epistemologies, one theistic and one atheistic, but their morality, political aims, and enemy are the same. Both ideologies proceed from altruism, which asserts that man has no right to exist for his own sake, only for the purpose of serving others. This stands at odds with the American principle of individualism, according to which each man has the right to exist for his own sake and to pursue his own happiness. Both Islamists and Marxists seek to usher in statism, which under Islam would involve the imposition of Islam on unwilling participants, and in the case of Marxism, the complete banishment of religion from the public square, so that the state can stand in the place of God as the object of worship. Their common enemy is the individual, and this is the basis, or in other words, the premise, upon which Islamists and Marxists cooperate today. They will fight for power later. They will fight between themselves once they've ushered in statism to determine whether the state will function as a theocratic regime or an atheistic, communistic one. But they must first destroy their common enemy, the individual, so that the American ideal of the sovereignty of the individual might no longer stand in the way of their collectivist, tribalistic primitivism. Individualism is the mark of Americanism. The United States is unlike any other country that ever existed prior to it, because it is grounded not in collectivism, but individualism. America was built upon the principle that the individual is the measure of all things, not the tribe, group, or collective that one belongs to. For this reason, Ayn Rand said that America in its original founding principles was the only moral nation in the history of the world. I think it's important to mention, in light of all this, the sick and twisted notion on the left of so-called social justice. It is sick and twisted because justice, by definition, is not social. Justice is the virtue according to which one receives what he or she is rightly owed. Consequently, it is a profoundly individualistic virtue, and the subjection of the individual to the collective or tribe is the very thing that the United States, in accordance with its original founding principles, stands against. Interestingly enough, the subjection of the individual to the collective is the very thing that the progressive left stands for. It advocates for this horrendous ideology under the guise, once again, of social justice, which is an umbrella term for a whole host of immoral anti-human ideologies and movements such as environmentalism and socialism. Environmentalism subjects the needs of man to the needs of nature. Socialism subjects the merits and earned wealth of each man to the needs of the collective. It can be deduced from these abhorrent ideologies that the Democrat notion of social justice has nothing to do with justice whatsoever. It is not about sustaining one's own life or receiving what one is owed, but rather putting aside one's own life and forking over one's wealth to one's own detriment and to the benefit of an entitled class. It is necessary for all of the reasons that I have stated that the Republican Party stands as a reliable conservative alternative to these leftist ideologies pushed by the Democrat Party. But I fear that the populist right, if they were to take control of the GOP, will serve not as an alternative to the progressive left, but a political variant of it. And we know what this faction of the party believes in. There is a populist right that believes in protectionism, nationalism, that wants us to embrace economic controls that are no different from those embraced and advocated for by Democrat socialists. And then on the other side, you have the DSA, the Democrat Socialists of America, who want, like I said, more economic controls, rent freezes, caps on credit cards, price controls among them. They want to pack the Supreme Court. They want to abolish the United States Senate. They want to abolish the Electoral College. These are the policy positions of people who despise America. They cannot claim to love America. They cannot claim to so much as like America because they despise our institutions. They despise our Constitution. They want to tear it all down, and they want to reimagine America. They want to turn it into something unrecognizable. And going into 2028, we must not morph into the Democrat Party, but we must stand as a contrast to it. And that is the bottom line. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to tune in to Friday's episode.